Wow, it's another Friday with Thundercats. This is episode 106, The Terror of Hammerhand.
Hammerhand, Berserkers. Is that what it is?
Repeating 3 times. This originally aired September 16th of 1985. We finally get, David, one of our favorite characters. I don't know if she's a favorite, but she in the future will be bringing us much joy, I believe. The Unicorn Keeper and her husband. This is not the last.
You also get a breakout performance by Snarf.
Yes, actually, this is
Snarf
Snarf's
adventure.
episode. Truly.
A Snarf adventure.
The Code of Dendera is called into action as Lion-O saves a unicorn from the evil Berserkers and their leader, Hammerhand. Lion-O is assisted in his struggles by a magic ring. Panthro's amphibious Thundertake ferries them to safety, and the terror of Hammerhand is crushed. So, we meet the pirates known as the Berserkers in this episode, which will be antagonists going forward at some point again. We also meet more Third Earthians, and we find out there's unicorns. Were you shocked, really, that there was unicorns?
No, I think that's wonderful.
David and I recently did The Last Unicorn over on the main show of the Radical Retro Rewind when we review movies and things like that. And going into this episode, I saw, researching it, that many people say that the movie is actually being drawn at the same time that these episodes were being produced, and they see a heavy influence. Somehow they see the unicorn's art is very similar, because at the same time, I believe they both were being done half in Japan and half in North America, the art for both movies. So just a little fun, little cute trivia that people have compared the unicorn from this to the unicorn in that movie. Why do the Berserkers have to repeat things 3 times? We find, like David said earlier, the Berserkers, they want to eat unicorns. That's what this whole episode is.
They want to eat anything. They want to eat anything. They want to eat Snarf, too. And their leader, who is a cross between a robot
from He-Man?
And Willie Nelson.
Willie Nelson. The terror of Willie Nelson hand. They are hungry. They want to eat anything. So they were originally going for a unicorn, but Snarf intervened. So they take not only the unicorn, but they also take Snarf, like David says, as a snack, they call him.
You're a snack.
Snarf at this point is taken captive. And I want to give all those people out there, again, give Snarf a bad rep. At one point, Snarf was going to grab a mace off the floor to fight.
He's brave. He is brave. Snarf, maybe the nursemaid might be a little cantankerous, might be a little bit pain in the butt and a little bit like a Debbie Downer, but he's not cowardice. I mean, he can be, I guess, but at the same time, he also knows his limitations. You know, he's not going to go up against Mumra because he's not the Code of Thundera. He's helping this unicorn.
He's helping this unicorn. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time, or I guess the right place for the unicorn, at least. Now, we cut to deep in a forest somewhere. Lion-O comes across a unicorn as well that is being held in the branches by a tree monster. Here's another callback to The Last Unicorn in a way, another tree that's alive. And David.
There is no love like tree love.
It's eternal.
I will remember your name.
It's eternal. Everyone remember that. If you want to love a tree, they're going to remember your name. That's a callback to Last Unicorn, if anyone wants to watch that episode. This tree monster is holding the unicorn.
Like torturing. It's like, haha, it's like laughing. It's so mean.
So Lion-O quickly jumps in and frees the unicorn from the clutches of the monster, but gets the Sword of Omen snatched from him by a giant crow. There's a lot going on right now.
Not the band, the Black Crows, but a black crow.
But the unicorn comes to Lion-O's rescue. It's really interesting what they do on here. The unicorn's horns that have those rings, you know, that natural groove to them, produces a literal physical ring for a user to put on to enchant the person. I think that's really interesting. I don't know if that's like a common unicorn mythos in real life,
I don't
but
know.
I really like that. This is saying a giant crow in the synopsis, but to me, I thought it was a small crow somehow and Lion-O shrunk. But either way, Lion-O is magically transported on the top of this crow, and he's able to get the Sword of Omens back from the crow and get back on land. So finally, we get that Sword of Omens warning David, because as soon as he gets back on the ground, the Sword of Omens glows brightly, warning Lion-O that Snarf is in danger, and he runs off to his aid. Along the way, he runs into the Unicorn Keepers, who tell him about their constant struggle to protect the enchanted unicorns. The Unicorn Keepers are... The husband Unicorn Keeper, David, he's more humanoid. He looks more human-like. But his wife looks like Erika's castle. Like, she's like a unicorn-faced woman?
She has like a
star?
just like
Last
in the
Unicorn?
Last Unicorn, the Lady Amalfia has a mark on her forehead, which is like a star, and so does this Unicorn Keeper lady.
But unfortunately, her transformation to human didn't go all the way, so she's kind of cut like a hybrid of a horse and a person.
She has a very bulbous nose. She has very thick, yarny white hair.
Yes.
They both have like staffs that have moons on them. They said they would
cast a spell on him
on Lion-O because they think he's meant to hurt the unicorns at first when he comes upon them. But then they realize that he helped the unicorn. The unicorn shows them, or he told him, "I'm not a magician."
This is another crazy power. David always speaks about the crazy power that the Sword of Omens can do everything. Lion-O says, "I'll show you. I tried to save your unicorn." Like, so if you don't believe me. Now, the Sword of Omens we know does sight beyond sight, but Lion-O doesn't even get this behind their eyes. As a matter of fact, he holds it up so their heads fit in the apertures of the sword. So you kind of see their, like, the heads in between the lenses, not the normal eye. And they're able to see the whole thing, that the tree... Lion-O saves the unicorn from the tree. And so we'll just go with it. Somehow it showed the Unicorn Keepers. But they think that he's a magician himself, because they keep calling him Musician. Suddenly, though, the Berserkers burst into the scene and Lion-O and Hammerhand engage in a savage duel. Unfortunately, Lion-O is forced to give up when one of Hammerhand's crew threatens the safety of Snarf. The Berserkers leave, taking a baby unicorn with them as well. So, Lion-O does tell the Unicorn Keepers that he's gonna bring back their baby.
I didn't care for the fact is that the Unicorn Keepers were, I guess because they're very docile, were like, oh, well, at least we didn't lose them all.
Yeah, you're right. They're using Snarf at this point. They're walking on land because I guess they're going to set up base off the ship. And they have Snarf almost like a camel.
They call him a beast of burden.
Beast of burden, exactly. And they always call him a natural one. He's extremely unnatural to them, how he looks. But Snarf is a beast of burden. But when he sees Lion-O,
he just throws
they said they're going to hurt Snarf, and he throws the shit right off his back and says, "Hammer away!" to Lion-O at them. The Berserkers then take the group hostage again. He's got the baby unicorn with Snarf. They go to a boat. Lion-O runs to the dock. There's a boat at the dock that just happened to be there that's somehow still floating. As soon as he gets into it and starts rowing, it starts to leak. It springs a hole, and the boat is going down. How the hell was that boat even floating in the water at that point that it got even further out before leaking? But anyway, Lion-O then gets submerged into the water.
Well, there's like a maelstrom. It's like spinning thing that's like.
Oh, of course, because there's no natural water in this place.
Because it's third Earth and everything is going to kill you. So it's like Australia with their wildlife and creatures and critters. Everything's trying to get you.
Dot and the kangaroo, David's favorite.
My favorite.
So the ring allows Lion-O to breathe underwater. So he has the unicorn's ring from earlier, thankfully still on his finger, and he's able to breathe underwater so he doesn't drown. I think Lion-O does really good in this episode, a matter of fact, by himself, because he actually boards the boat. Snarf does tell him to call for help, but when he does, this is one of those weird things that we never understand because we always assume that all the Thundercats get the signal. Tigra and the twins never show up. Panthro and Shitara only get the distress call from Lion-O, so we're not quite sure why the others don't see the call, but lucky enough, when the Sword Siren of Omens calls Panthro and Chitara. They arrive at the scene swiftly in the Thunder Tank. Panthro, just recently, thankfully, has converted the Thunder Tank to be able to go underwater as a submarine. So,
seems like a logical thing to do.
They're underwater, and I love this. They're treading through the teeth of the Thunder Tank, or like catching fish by accident, so when they actually get out of the water, the fish drop out of the mouth. And Chitara says to Panthro, anything this kitty car can't do, I wonder. I feel like it can do a lot. So the mail order Mumra action figure came with a staff that has looks like a goat-headed staff. It's like a black staff. Mumra never uses it in the series. It was kind of just like an accessory that they gave him. But I noticed that the Berserkers totem in the front of their ship looks like this staff that Mumra has. So I wonder if almost they based it on that and they just kind of just threw it in as an accessory, because I guess just a plain Mumra mummy wouldn't have been fun without a staff. It looked like that to me. They arrive in the Thunder Tank, and while Chitara and Hammerhand exchange fire, Panthro creates a strong whirlpool by circling the Berserker's ship multiple times at high speeds. The strong currents drown the Berserker ship and its crew. The baby unicorn is reunited with its mother on the beach, and Lionel returns the magic ring to her as well. Then they make it home. Well, that's nice that they let us know that the Thunder Tank makes it home.
It's a good episode. It's also where you're setting up Thundercats are making more friends that they can through a third Earth. And there's always this sense that the Thundercats are always going to have to be the heroines, always going to have to be the muscle. Because the Unicorn Keepers are very docile, the Burbles are very docile. The
Brute men that we've
Brute men are very docile. There is later on some people that are not quite as docile, but not quite as agile as the Thundercats are. So
the Thundercats Wikipedia notes that a new feature of the Thunder Tank, known as Aquatic Mode, makes its debut in this episode that allows the tank to dive underwater just as easily as it drives on land. Mumra and the mutants do not appear in this episode, and strangely, it mentions that strangely, Tigra and Wily Kit and Wily Cat are nowhere to be seen as well. Apart from Hammerhand, none of the other Berserkers are identified by name. Oh, this is interesting. Originally, the main antagonist of this episode was going to be a big, bushy-bearded Viking known as Killigar, with Hammerhand as his second in command. It is revealed in an initial draft of the script, the character was scrapped and Hammerhand was promoted to the main villain's role. The end of this episode shows the Berserkers drowning, though, and I don't want to give it away because there is an episode called Spitting Image that happens, so we're just going to leave that here, but this might not be the end that we see of Hammerhand. So the Berserkers are described as a group of evil Viking-like pirates who sail the seas of Third Earth, led by the ruthless leader Hammerhand, and they enjoy nothing more than terrorizing the gentle beings of Third Earth.
I don't believe Willie Nelson would do that.
He might be singing to them.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again.
They often sail the seas in their ships, searching for their favorite food, unicorns. So maybe it wasn't the Red Bull and the last unicorn. It was the Berserkers, passed down long ago. They've also been hired as mercenaries over the years.
But I wouldn't hire them for a child's party. And do you notice in the episode where he keeps smashing everything on the ship and then Lionel starts cutting stuff down with the sword? They basically destroyed their own ship. That's stupid.
Yeah, they did. It's almost
and there's also a part where Snarf is trying to get something to get out, like a key or whatever. Not a key. What does he try to get out? Is it a key? And the unicorn magically moves it over. Like the unicorn is
yes, like why? I mean, I guess we're thinking because it's a baby and it doesn't know. But it knew enough that Snarf was trying to help it, because even in the water when they were kind of like floating around. So a cute episode in the sense that I liked the unicorns. Everyone loves a good unicorn thrown in.
Ultimately, not my most remembered episode, but
no. I mean, I've been saying about this Unicorn Keeper every time we do an episode, but there is an episode coming up when this woman is just she's moaning
extra.
and whining.
She's extra.
Yes, her husband. There's a remember the shark spider? I think that's the episode that Lionel has to cross like the shark spider thing.
No, well, this to me, that this basically episode, again, what I said earlier, this episode sets up, you're meeting more inhabitants, good and bad, of
Yes.
Third Earth. You're setting up more relationships, and you're also setting up, again, the fact that the Thundercats are going to be the champions, because champions of a lot of the weaker, perceived weaker, or creatures of Third Earth, because, again, they lost unicorns to these people before.
They've
So
eaten them. Oh my god.
So,
And actually, there is a quote that I just was reminded of when David was saying that. Lion-O says that if he didn't stop to help the unicorn, he would never have gotten the help to save himself and his friends with the ring that the unicorn gave him. So he says at one point, if I didn't stop to help that unicorn, the unicorn in inverted helped me as well. So everyone got something out of that when you help people. And I wonder if that's what they would consider the moral of this episode.
I would agree with that. It also reinforces previous episodes where Tigra tells Lion-O, which is my famous one, did you do it because because you wanted to be thanked, or did you do it because it was the right thing to do?
That's
so again,
right.
Instilling those morals into us and reaffirming them again and later on in episodes.
Right, so it's almost like, again, as I always say, Thundercats remembers its continuity. It remembers that happened, and Lion-O is using this wisdom, like David's saying. And then, yes, the Thundercats Wikipedia says, Lion-O's efforts to help the defenseless unicorn against the violent Hammerhand then reciprocates aid given to him by the unicorn. Sometimes when we stop to help others, we end up helping ourselves. So these were life lessons for children. As David has said, they really have instilled, I really believe people of the 80s are a good generation of people.
You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, that was another week with Thundercats recap. Next is episode 7. Ooh, The Trouble with Time. I feel like this is a classic
This is
episode.
one of my favorite. This is one of my all-time favorites that I remember.
Classic. And I believe we meet new friends as well.
The next episode, The Trouble with Time, if it's the one I'm thinking of, establishes my really super love for Chitara.
Yes, it is. It is exactly that one, The Cave of Time. Yep. This is a fantastic episode, everybody. This week might have been a little, maybe not as exciting, even though there was pirates. Great idea for a pilot, showcasing of our characters yet again, and their moral and their beautiful
abilities,
especially Chitara. So you could reach us at Universal Appeal 2020, all one word, for David, and the Retro Rewind Podcast, one word, on Instagram. We're always updating that. We're always putting new things on. And we have a YouTube page where we can also hear these podcasts as well as some videos that sometimes periodically go up there as well. And if you do go, please like, subscribe. It really helps to get the word out on our show and really supports us, helps us grow.
And please don't hesitate to suggest content.
Yeah, lately we've been doing a lot of fan requests, so if you got a request out there, let us know. And remember
this, you hoes. No, remember to always uphold
the Code of Thundera.
And
if you see a unicorn being tortured by a tree monster, before
help it.
Before you take your video for Instagram or
before
TikTok,
you go to Starbucks or do a TikTok video,
yeah, before your TikTok video of the unicorn being attacked, maybe throw it a hand. You might get a ring out of it. You never know.
Yeah, true that.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.